Joe Burton back here, CEO from ROI Marketplace. Today we are doing part two of our three-part series about launching, optimizing, and scaling e-commerce campaigns in Q4. To kind of recap from yesterday, or actually earlier this week, we decided to launch a campaign with a network called GiddyUp. We chose GiddyUp because they've got awesome Q4 e-com offers every single season. We chose to launch on a network, native network of Outbrain. We chose Outbrain because, quite honestly, we've done a lot of work with them in the past. They've gotten kind of tricky to optimize and scale on, so we thought it'd be a great talking point. I won't do too much recap, but to kind of remember, we built out 2 landing pages yesterday. We also built out the offer pages. So we've got our campaign set up and ready to go inside of Volume. Volume is the click tracking software that we use to help us optimize and scale things. I do recommend you guys have a click tracker in place of some kind. Volume and Thrive are 2 of the bigger ones out there right now, but of course there's some other options as well. So here is the flow that we have built out. Pretty simple. We've got both landing pages from yesterday in here at equal ratio, and then both offer pages. So once the data starts coming in, we'll obviously pick out the best landing page and start to make improvements on that based on profitabilities. So here's the campaign we built out. We're going to set this up. We're going to launch this inside of our optimizer. Optimizer is the actual the API we use to help us optimize our campaigns. I do recommend for native, you guys have some kind of API in place to really help you manage things with how many sites are out there, how many bids are changing in real time. It's kind of hard to do everything manually. So the optimizers who we use, we've also used Brax, we've used Maximus, and kind of hand test a couple other things as well. And this is the one we've chosen as our API of choice. What I like about it, we'll discuss this in session 3, but it allows you to set up automated rules that really manage the campaigns for you based on certain things you tell it to do. So you can tell it to increase or decrease bids based on performance, or pause or restart campaigns based on performance, pause ads, pause placements, and really a host of other things. And we'll get into that in section 3. So we're going to launch today 6 separate campaigns. We're going to launch campaigns on their run of network as well as on MSN only. And we're going to do it in 3 separate subgroups. So since we don't have a lot of data yet on this particular advertiser, we're actually going to be doing is launching campaigns as a prospecting campaign. That basically means a bunch of headlines and a bunch of images all into one bucket. We'll start to find some winners in those, then we'll break those out into separate subset campaigns with different targeting. We're going to break these out in 3 separate campaigns. The first one's going to be broken computer images. The second one's going to be people that are on their computers. And the third one is going to be keyboard images. And we're going to use the same headlines for each. So setting up the campaign inside of Optimize is pretty simple. We're going to do this one for people on computers. We'll have the campaign turn on every morning at 6 a.m. We're going to set a fairly aggressive bid of 75 cents. We're going to start off with a low ad spend at just $50 per day. Personally, I don't think you need to go really aggressive out of the gates on your daily ad spends. I think as long as you've got $50 to $100 per day, you can get a lot of data in place pretty quickly. I also launched things on desktop only for any new campaigns. If I've never ran the advertiser in the past, I don't know much about it, I want to set things up in an environment where really I can optimize things in the purest ad set. And to me, desktop traffic is always a little bit cleaner and easier to optimize than it is on the mobile side of things. So this is going to be our tracking code. This is part of what you get when you use a click tracking software. This is going to pass back certain dynamic things like headlines and images and publisher names that are going to bounce back into our click tracker. And again, we'll go over that in section 3. So we're going to put in our URL here. If you remember yesterday, we had about 3 or 4 different images that we picked out from their list. So we're going to start out with those. Bear with me while I copy and paste a couple things. All right. Now we're going to pick a couple images as well. I'm going to do this particular campaign again. We discussed is going to be people on computers. So this is just a big file we have of just tons and tons of different images. We've ran a couple similar campaigns over the past couple of years. We found, pictures of attractive women by computers, people who are frustrated on their computers, people who look shocked on their computers tend to kind of convert the best. So I have a couple things we're going to throw in out of gates and see if any of these do take off. So there we go. You can see it does create, variations of each campaign with headline and image, which is kind of a neat feature. Now we're going to go into the next feature. So for this one, we're going to add in a couple of our rules. We won't go over all these. Honestly, we could do an entire different class just based on those, but we're going to add a couple things in that are going to block sites that block sites that have got a 0% CTR from, pre-sale to offer page. We're going to do some bid rules as well. And again, we will discuss these more in detail at a later time, but it's going to be some baselines. Now that we got that set up, we're also going to duplicate the campaign. And we're going to do this one for MSN only. MSN only campaigns are kind of a nice feature on Outbrain. They don't allow you to whitelist really anymore, but the MSN only is something you can still do over there. And that's going to be it. We'll launch this here. That means the campaign has now gone off for approval, and we'll let you know once that does go through. After about a week's worth of data, we'll get together, we'll analyze that data together, and then we'll discuss how we're going to really make things start to scale up and come along. Any questions, comments, please let me know, and happy to do this for you guys.